Today we'll be reading The Tale of Warb Null from the Tales of the Jedi Companion by George R. Strayton. The Tale of Warb Null. Capsule. This creature of the dark side, for lack of a better term, was once a dedicated student of metallurgy named Shas Dovos. Few memories of his former life survived his transformation at the hands of the Sith Spectre responsible for the change, a process that somehow melded his life essence with the dark side armor the spirit had tricked him into creating. Steam rose in wispy clouds from the fiery forge set in the center of the immense underground chamber. The mixed scent of sulfur and sweat permeated the air, and flares of superheated gases randomly struck out from the Sith-spawned flames that kept the apparatus alive. But Shas Dovos ignored the violent sensations that assaulted his nerve endings. The work before him absorbed all of his attention. He did not even realize that 4 days had passed since his effort had begun. All that mattered, all that had ever mattered, was the completion of his undertaking. It had taken him years to decipher the Sith tome he had stolen from the ancient Darkside holdfast hidden in the wilds of his native planet. The book at once fascinated and reviled him, but his obsession quickly overpowered his fear, and he eventually lost interest in all other aspects of his life. He desired nothing more than to unlock the Sith secrets hidden within the paper and ink of the millennia-old tome. Now, more than a decade after discovering the book, he was about to fulfill what he had come to see as his destiny. His hammer rang out in perfect pitch as it struck the quickly cooling steel, spraying bright red sparks into the darkness. Any onlooker might have considered the event a spectacle of beauty, but Shas saw none of it, so transfixed was he by the object of his toils. The breastplate, all of the individual pieces that made up the suit of armor for that matter, required the perfect blend of craftsmanship and Sith magic. A mixture biased in either direction would result in failure, as Shas had learned more times than he cared to recount. The hammer pounded one more time against the steel, this last strike seeming to echo through the chamber and out into its tributary passages unlike any blow that had come before. Shas stopped and stared, sweat trickling down his face and chest. Outside, stimuli began to intrude on his concentration, but he effortlessly thrust them back into the background. The hammer fell from his hand and chimed a final time as it collided with the stone floor. The armor was complete. Shas did not know how long he stood captivated by his creation. It might have been minutes, but it also might have been hours or even days. He wrestled with several emotions at once, each quickly reshaping into the next, until he returned to the beginning and started the cycle again. Had he really succeeded after all these years? Surely he didn't hold that kind of power over the Sith magic. And yet, before him lay the armor, perfect in every detail. But, did he deserve to wear it? Wouldn't such a construction be wasted on him, a man who had to steal the sorcery necessary to create it? No, another voice within him spoke. If he had not rescued the Sith knowledge from the obscurity of his world's wild regions, the armor would never have been brought into being. If anyone deserved to don the exquisite suit, to surround himself with its innate power, it was Shas Dovos. "Yes, you shall wear the armor," came a voice from the darkness. Shas spun about, jarred from his musings. "Who's there?" he demanded. Across the chamber, an ember seemed to hover a dozen feet above the floor. It pulsed every few moments, flaring yellow and then resuming a stable red hue in turn. "You know who I am. Without me, you never could have understood the book, much less created the armor. At first, your arrogance annoyed me, but eventually I saw how I could put it to use." The ember exploded in a bright flash, and Shas had to shield his eyes. When the light had died, he dared to look again. Before him stood the translucent form of an alien species he did not recognize. That it appeared to be near human, it wore long robes, the cowl turned down to reveal its fierce countenance. Shas's heart fluttered, and he felt himself take a step backward. Who?
I am the protector of that tome you so casually call your own. I am its guardian against the ravages of time. Without me, that collection of frail molecules would have crumbled into dust 1,000 years ago.
The spirit flowed forward, gaining in bulk and stature as it neared Shas.
It is I who decide who is worthy to discover this lore. It is I who decide how the knowledge will be used, and you have done exactly as I have commanded.
Dozens of divergent thoughts clambered to win Shas's attention, but each was quickly surmounted by the next, and Shas could not concentrate at all. Fear predominated his emotions now, his curiosity lost, his arrogance vanquished. He staggered backward as the spirit seemed to expand rather than to merely move toward him.
And now that I have allowed you the honor of creating the armor, you must perform a service for me.
Shas cringed at the words. Whatever the book's protector wanted, Shas knew it would somehow spell his doom.
Not your doom, Shas. No. It is as I have always told you in your deep dreams. This is your destiny.
The specter fell into a round of reverberating laughter. Shas glanced toward the half-dozen exits from the chamber, but all seemed too far away. If the spirit did not want him to leave, it would not let him, and Shas did not have any desire to know how it would accomplish that feat.
Do not worry, my disciple. You will have your place in the history of the galaxy. I did not bring you this far to end your albeit insignificant existence now. No, you will become an extension of me. You will go where I cannot and help restore the glory of the Sith.
Shas felt his curiosity returning, though his fear did not subside.
But before I teach you the skills you will need to succeed in your mission, I must make you stronger.
The spirit looked toward the suit of armor, which sat in a heap at the base of the forge.
This,
it said, gesturing,
will be your new skin.
At first, Shas was confused, but the realization came all too quickly.
And this new being that the merging of man and metal will create most definitely deserves a new name. I think Warb Null will do nicely.
Shas threw up his hands in defense and screamed in horror as the specter swooped toward him. I hope you've enjoyed this reading of The Tale of Warb Null